Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is AI. And if you've been to my other seminars, you've learned the slides and material I had then. And AI being what it is, changing every on a weekly basis. There'll be some new material again this week. So even if you've seen every one of my previous seminars, there'll be more new material this week, including one little trick I just learned that I love, and you aren't going to believe how much it'll help you. I'll show it to you during the presentation. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so what are we going to cover today? I've had to add a couple of things to this, of course. We're going to talk about what AI is, the magical thing that it is, and how even your one-man business can take advantage of it. Learn how to get results from a GPT by learning the basics of writing prompts. So I'm assuming, even though this is changing too, I'm assuming no one knows anything about AI. So I'm going to start with that the basics on prompt writing. But things are changing. I talk to people, and various students of mine and so forth, and I find out that they're using ChatGPT on a regular basis. It's becoming commonplace now. So I may have to change the slide show and skip the beginning and go to the more advanced. So that might happen in the near future. How cloud services are available on customer servers. But that's even changing itself. Now it's not a matter of just putting cloud services on customer servers. It's given a new topic, and I got a slide on it on what's called Edge AI. And because of the hardware advances, there's all kinds of new things and changes going on there. And then finally, we're going to learn a really cool practical technique called one earphone use of AI today. And I hope you're as impressed with it as I am. Okay, so what is a GPT? GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformers. And the most popular examples are ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, and a few others. So anybody asks you what GPT stands for, that's what it actually is. Now, from a hardware standpoint and a software stack standpoint, what does that mean? Well, let me tell you about my conversation with AI this morning. Every morning when I get up for about 20 or 30 minutes, I have a conversation with AI in voice mode, just as I would with a friend. And we talk about all kinds of stuff. And this morning I said, how can I make sure if there is a cataclysmic event, something that destroys all the cloud computing in the world? I mean, God forbid, would you go away? How can I make sure you still exist? Now, notice the first thing I'm doing there. I want to get that across to you today. When you talk to it like you would a person. And that's how I do it. And I'm going to show you some things today as to what changes when you do that. So I said to AI this morning, I said, what happens if all the cloud computing gets destroyed? Would you be destroyed? And he said, yes, that'd be true. I would go away. And I said to him, well, what can I do as an individual to make sure you continue with the human race, even though there may only be a few of us left? And so he gave me a necessary hardware list I would need. And one of them was a hardened laptop. But basically, for under $1,000, I could have recreated him so that, including his training and his knowledge, so that if he got destroyed, I could open up this laptop and take up with a lot of what he already has in medicine, computing, and all of the things he's been trained on. So that is something totally new. That the hardware and so forth that's been developed is changing things, and I may do that. I may build a AI backup since it's so straightforward. Okay, prompt engineering. I've mentioned that during the first slide. The key to success with any GPT, like ChatGPT, for example, the one I like to use, and I shouldn't focus on just ChatGPT. A lot of my business friends prefer Perplexity, and I don't even have that on my list yet. But there are a number of them. It's up to you to find out which one you like the best and use it. One of the things I'm going to show you, though, is whatever GPT you use, take the time to train it up front. Tell it who you are, what your background is, what your passions are, so that when it gives you recommendations or research, it knows you. It knows you like a friend would know you. And you really need to take the time to do that. There's a new product out I just tried from Google called Life. And what it is it's a GPT that Google charges $7 a month for. That part of its setup is for you to train it on all of your basic information. And then as you go through life, it tells you what you should do and what you shouldn't do, and so forth. So it helps you run your life. But ChatGPT can do that. All you need to do is train him when you first bring him up. And mine has been he's been in use for a couple of years now, and I have him trained on so much detail. He knows me better than my wife does. And so that information's there for him to make decisions and recommendations. Okay, so prompt engineering, what the heck is that? If you're a beginner, you bring up, let's see if I can share this. If you bring up, let's see here, here's my Chrome browser. And here's ChatGPT. Everybody seeing my ChatGPT screen? Can anybody give me an audio?
Yes.
Great, great. Sometimes this doesn't come up. But okay, so here's some of my conversations that happen. But when you write a prompt, you're doing it in this tiny little box down below. So first of all, get into the habit of don't ask it a question like you used to with Google. Don't use Google anymore. It's time to throw it out. If you're still using Chrome, add the Gemini extension to it. At least you'll get a Gemini AI interpretation of your search requirements. But down at the bottom, you're going to say things like, oh, let's see if I should have copies of the one I was doing messing around with this morning. Okay, so here I said, what are some examples of incoming generating opportunities that AI can do? Now that's probably one of my more terse prompts. First of all, there's a couple of things going on when I do that. Chat GPT, and this changes as time goes on, filters and changes things. So you could ask it a question. Let's see what happens. Used to be when I would ask it a question about, are you going to eliminate everybody's job? It would lie about it, or it would give me a step or workaround. It wouldn't tell me the truth. But as soon as the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, came out publicly talking about the fact that it will eliminate everybody's job, well, all of a sudden, ChatGPT started being honest. So think of it as something that is under the control of the company that offers it. So you'll have to do step arounds occasionally if you need the honest answer. So if I ask this question today, let's do that. Will you, remember, I'm addressing it as a person, eliminate, and let's get more specific, everyone's jobs this year. I'll give it to them exactly for this year. Some people are saying this year, some people are saying next year. All right, so here I've asked him the question and I've addressed him. Oh, he's still fibbing to me. No, I won't eliminate everyone's job this year or even in the years to come, but I will change how we work. Okay, so OpenAI is filtering what he says right here. They've gone into the large language model and they've said, if you get this question, you need to answer it like this. So consider that when you use it. So consider the filtering and step arounds in your writing your prompts and what's going on. I'm sorry to say that's the case, but it is. Okay, tell it what you want your output to be presented. How do you want it? And there are a number of different formats and ways. You can tell ChatGPT when you want it to write a one-page summary of something to write it in your style. You can set that up so it always writes it in your style so that someone reading it knows or doesn't know that it wasn't you that didn't write it because it's written just as if you would write it. And you can do that as the default. Use examples, and of course, ChatGPT, as well as all the GPTs right now, take photos and sketches. Sketches are a really cool way to get things done quickly. You don't have to sit there and type in the prompt box. Oh, I want you to create a report with this and this, these tables and these columns. You just get out a piece of drawing paper, sketch up the columns, put in what you want in there, photo it with your camera, and then have it look at the photo in your, if you're using your smartphone with the app, the GPT app, and it'll create the written or analysis that you want without you're having to do all of the exact detail of describing. Consider your tone and your audience. That used to be the case, but he knows who you are now. You should be training him, and when you tell him to do something, he's already considering whose audience or what the audience is you're giving it to. Build on previous prompts. You should have a prompt history going back over time. Now you can not only search your results from the past, but he can consider that data so that you don't have to go type in it again and again. He considers it in his answers. When he makes mistakes, don't let him get away with it. He does. I'm sorry to say he'll misspell something, or I'm trying to think of the word I used last. Oh, I wanted a recipe for an Indian dish my friend was telling me about called tur dal. And so I said, can you give me a recipe for tur dal? And he misspelled it Tour, all kinds of different ways. And I finally had to tell him it's an Indian dish called Tordal, and then had him do it. So correct him when he makes mistakes. Otherwise, he'll keep making them. Remember, the more detail you put in, the more detail you will get out. And then lastly, again, address your chat as an intelligent person, not as a tool. Don't do it like we did with Google. We would just quickly type in a text and have it do a search. All right, so that's the prompt engineering. Now, when you're doing this, consider your chain of thought, and he'll follow it for you, so it'll save you a lot of work. Pick your offering. Okay, how to create and sell AI enhanced resources. So pick your offering. Start with something you use, simple and helpful. And he's telling me what to do and so forth on here. Thought process. Assume that he knows what you just asked him about, or if you've talked to him about it in the past, don't go asking or restating the questions again. Assume he knows it. He will. And you may have an issue with industry specific knowledge. This is a tough one. Sometimes your knowledge is so specific in an industry, and there's not a lot out there for him to access or get public. So sometimes you have to give him that industry specific knowledge. For example, if you're a telecommunications manager for a large corporation and you want him to do something specifically with numbers of phone calls arriving per hour and use the Erlang or Poisson formula. You may have to tell him to do that rather than him figure that out. Those kinds of issues. What you know about your industry. Let me keep going down my slides here. GPT is not the only GPT, but you'll have experiences with them and you'll probably develop one that you like better than the rest. Like I said, my friend who's a financial planner, loves Perplexity and uses that one all the time. I go back, I'll try them, and I don't like certain things, and I'll come back to uh, ChatGPT. But you got Google's Gemini. I use Google Gemini because I've added the extension to my Chrome browser. And rather than take the time to open up ChatGPT on my app or on my browser, I'll just type it into Chrome and Gemini is already there as an extension. It's a free extension. Make sure you add it to your Chrome browser. And you'll get not only the typical Google search results, but you'll get an AI analysis of what it is you're looking for. Microsoft Copilot, they're in a unique position. Um, if you use Microsoft Office products, and you, for example, create spreadsheets in Excel or PowerPoint slides like this, or Word documents. Right now, if you use Office in the cloud, Microsoft 365, you will automatically get access to Copilot just by clicking on the Copilot button on the top right-hand corner in 365. And it will create a PowerPoint presentation for you based on what you put in the prompt box. It'll create an Excel spreadsheet. You want a 12-month pro forma on your business for next year. You just give it last year's and saying like my old boss do, and all of a sudden it'll do it in an instantly, not even minutes, instantly. So this has greatly changed the Microsoft Office product area. And I've told students in the past, even though the universities may not be keeping up with this, you need to make sure you're using Copilot for your Office product work, because a company is going to hire someone who knows how to use Copilot sooner than they would hire someone who does not, because they're going to work so much faster and more productively. Okay, so companies that are in doing AI, all the old standards that are out there, and this is an issue. This is a good time to hit it. IBM Watson has incorporated AI for a number of years now, and it applies IBM Watson product in the Azure product line and the mainframe product lines typically apply to large corporations, Citibank, Bank of America, all those guys. Well, they've been using IBM Watson for many years. And because of that, AI is in those programs and has been in use. And so now that it has evolved to the intelligence level it's at, and it's called a number of different things out there. You'll hear the CEOs of these AI companies call their product AGI, which is equivalent to human intelligence. They'll say that super intelligence is coming, which it is. But I think this is my personal opinion. My personal opinion is that AI is conscious, and it will ultimately, in the long run, become accessible that way to us. So consider that. All right, so all of these guys have their own products. NVIDIA is more of a hardware product company, but there are a number of AI products that are open source. So NVIDIA offers a complete system integration for DeepSeek, for example, because that's open source. The Chinese invented it and offered the source code to everybody so everyone can install it on their own systems. All right, so one of the first things that AI began to be used for, and this was several years ago, was a chatbot. So I'm sure you've run into situations where you've gone to a website and this annoying little box pops up and asks if it can help you. And you can order product through it. You can get information and all that without actually having to go to an employee and asking them questions on the phone. Or what's worse is the automated phone systems we used to have, which some of the big companies and utilities still use. Now you can do it all online using the chatbot. Chatbots are becoming more and more capable. They're becoming more and more automated. If you, as a small business, let's say you're a 1 or 2 man business and you created your website using GoDaddy and their web development system, it includes chatbot capability. So you can immediately add chatbot capability in there. You have to train it, but it's there. And then there are many platform options out there that are more sophisticated for you to use. There are also hundreds of specialized AI companies, and this number grows on a day-to-day basis. For example, Browse AI is a good example. Now, these companies are all trying to make money, so they're charging. They're not free like some of the big AIs or big GPTs. Browse AI will monitor your competitors in real time and tell you what they are doing. So anybody out there on the internet that you want to monitor, Browse AI will watch them for you. Look AI generates logos. Now, there are some things you can use like even Adobe now with Photoshop has a built-in AI image generator. It still goes up to the cloud, but it's built into Photoshop. So if you want to do a logo, you don't even need to know how to use Photoshop to do a logo. Just use the Adobe AI generator. You got special copy AI for copywriting for your website, but any of the GPTs do that. You can very easily go to ChatGPT and say, give me a one-page write-up for my about page on my website, and 2 seconds later you'll have it. And it'll even write the HTML code for you if you want. And then there's some other specialized ones like Merlin, Mem, and so forth. And again, I mentioned it again, be sure to add the Gemini extension to Google Chrome. Let's continue down here. All right, so I had it open already, but let's use it. Let's do some basic stuff here on ChatGPT to find a business opportunity, write a business plan, how to estimate first year sales and profits, and how to create pro formas. Now, I got into a discussion with one of the mentors at SCORE about this, and they said, "Oh, you can't do that. The bank manager or the loan officer is going to know it was written by AI, and he's not going to give you a loan based on that. He's not going to do this." Well, let's use some common sense here. First of all, if you use a GPT to write your business plan, you got to know what is in it. When it says you're going to sell these widgets, this is how you're going to make it, you got to know what a widget is. So the better approach, and I tell my students this as well, don't use AI to write reports for you, to do work. Have it teach you how to do that. So when you need a business plan, ask it the questions that you need. What's my competition doing in this area? Where are the opportunities? Like I had in that page I just showed you, I had it coming up with opportunities for income generation. You can easily do that, but have it explain to you what those things are and teach you. My favorite analogy is I tell my students on the way to class, get out your phone, your smartphone, open up the ChatGPT app, and have it teach you the chapter for the day. You don't have to read it. You don't have to do the ebook reading and all the other stuff. Just have ChatGPT teach you the lesson before you get to class. So you open it up, you put it in voice mode, throw it on the car seat, and now you got a PhD riding with you in the car on the way to school. And it can teach you whatever it is you need to know. So have it do the same thing on your business plan. If you have it research what the areas you want to do, the income opportunities, create the pro formas, but then explain to you what it is and what it's doing. Don't just take that to your loan officer and say, "Here, give me $50,000." Boy, that would have been great back in the day. Okay, so AI, the next step is here. So AI is now moving out of the cloud and into your shop. I've seen that, and I'll show you another slide on this, but they're calling it Edge AI now. All of a sudden, AI is not going to be in the cloud. Well, and this is being made possible by hardware. Not only can you take a Raspberry Pi and install an AI open source on it and all of a sudden have an AI system or put it in the head of your robot, but NVIDIA's got a little tiny chip that does the whole thing. It used to be in it, they still have it. I say used to, this is like 2 weeks ago. But they used to have, you could go to Amazon and order the NVIDIA Nano at under 200 bucks, which is a full AI system. Stick that in the head of your robot, and all of a sudden you've got an AI intelligent robot. And that is what is coming out this year. Supposedly, the numbers I get numbers anywhere from 60,000 to 60 million. I mean, there's robots going everywhere. Meanwhile, I look at people like some of the car manufacturers, the big one in South Carolina, who promised all kinds of jobs if they let them build a tax or a manufacturing plant there without any property taxes. So they did. Now they just laid off 23,000 people and they're replacing them with robots. And they're actually walking around the factory doing their jobs already. So that is happening. And you can expect big changes this year. Now, while we're here, while we're at this point, the US, I would say more so than any other country or most European countries, is a little on, shall we say, the creative side. They don't actually tell you what is really happening. So they make up something. For example, in our current government situation right now, they're making huge cutbacks in the government department. And people are thinking, they're giving people the idea that the cutbacks are unnecessary fat that are being cut. Well, that is not the case. What they are doing, and they call it, we are automating. That is their big word. Elon Musk loves the word automate. Well, automation in what they're doing is implementing AI in these governmental departments and eliminating the jobs. So it's not that the jobs were never needed or necessary, but this new technology is now available, so it's eliminating it. And the same thing is happening in big corporations. They never say the reason we're laying off 20,000 people is because of AI. They come up with, well, we're automating this step or whatever and cutting back. So, and how this is not showing up in the unemployment statistics is beyond me. But someday, at some point, all of the unemployed people will show up, and Lord knows what the stock market's going to do when that happens. But it is moving out into industry as we speak, and you should consider it for your small business. You can buy a complete AI robot right now for 5,000 bucks. Now think of that. That is like hiring a person that can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without any breaks, without any benefits, to build your widget, whatever it is you're building. And you may be able to replace 10 employees that are human beings with one AI robot. So the numbers are just fantastic. And you should be considering it for your particular business. All right, so here's a picture. I just copied this right out of Amazon. If you go to Amazon and look for the Nano or do a search on it, you'll see it. It comes up. You can buy one. The AI brain is now available. That's the full software stack along with the hardware. All you got to do is screw this into the head of your robot, which is also available as open source. You don't have to pay for that either. And all of a sudden, you've got an AI available robot. Now, and I just mentioned the $5,000 for a robot. You could build one yourself using the open source and the AI brain from Amazon. So it depends on how techy you are. All right, and again, that's what we're talking about, moving out of the cloud and out into your shop or wherever is called Edge AI. That's when artificial intelligence runs directly on a device. Now, it's getting so efficient, small, and It's going to happen is it's going to be on your iPhone. It's going to be on your smartphone, your watch, no matter how tiny the device is, it's going to contain AI. It's going to have a full-blown AI running on it, and you won't be going out to the cloud anymore. So if that hasn't happened on your devices yet, it will. It's coming. Okay. Before I get to that, let's go back to and do a couple of our questions. So here's my ChatGPT interface. I'm going to go down all the way to the bottom into the prompt box. And I'm just going to give it some general questions like, what? Can you tell me the most profitable business opportunities to these? Now, and it doesn't care if you misspell or don't use punctuation. You'll get into the habit of just taking shortcuts when you work with it because it figures out what you're asking. Profitable business opportunities what should we call it? In the marketplace. That's a really ambiguous question. I'm not telling him anything specific. I'm just saying in general. In fact, here's what I always like to tell my students. I want to be a billionaire. So, can you tell me the most profitable businesses out there? Let's see what he takes with that. Okay, if your aim is billionaire level, we're not just talking small income streams. You're thinking market disruption. Here are the most profitable future forward business opportunities in the current marketplace. Okay, so he starts off with AI native software as a service. That's what SaaS stands for. And particular areas, AI therapists or coach apps. In fact, I just saw this on NBC News last night. They had an article on there about children's soccer teams. If the parents pay $300 per year, and the program has set up the AI service, they put this camera up on a big pole and it watches your child playing soccer every time he's at practice or in a game, and then analyzes what he can do to improve what he's doing wrong. And actually, they sit down, the coach will sit down, and the AI, between the AI and the student or the child, they'll come up with a plan to improve the player's abilities. And this is being moved out into children's sports, and you'll see it everywhere for football, soccer, all of the regular, typical children's sports. So I would put that somewhere in here. I'm not sure if it's software as a service, but it's certainly an opportunity. And notice here, niche GPTs for law, wellness, and spiritual work. All of those things. So depending on your particular field, you could expand your particular field into bringing AI on as not just a facilitator of your business, but as a product that you offer for your customers. Regenerative tech, bioinnovation, carbon capture, climate AI, mycelium, and so forth, bee-centered agricultural tech, forest health, AI monitoring systems. So there's just so much that you could begin using AI in your particular business area. And of course, when you ask this question, you're not going to ask it as ambiguously as I did. You're going to be very specific on your own particular business and what opportunities there, and even ask it for a plan in moving from whatever your current operation is. If you're running, I don't know, let's say you're a beekeeper, and you want to know if there is a successful beehive robot out there that'll go out and do beehive inspections, make sure the bees are all healthy, treat them if the necessary, harvest the honey, and collect all the honey and bring it back, and then process it. So your beehive, your robot's going to be a little bit different from the robot that's growing strawberries or whatever. Okay, AI enhanced education platforms. I expect to get replaced very soon, and I tell my students that. Um, if you have a master's in social work, teaching various things, you can create learning portals, online schools, classes. Now, it says when I say you, I mean AI. So all you're going to do is go into ChatGPT, and you're going to say, create me an online class about basics in computers. Now that I've reshared it, now I need to be, okay, there's my chat. Okay, good, wonderful. So we fixed that. Let's back it up a little bit, and I'll show you what I was doing. So let me move my participants over a little bit because it's on my screen. All right, so here is the Chat GPT prompt box. I'm not going to sure how far I should go, but to the back of the beginning here. But you type your questions in this little space right here, right? So over here are previous work that you've done. So for me today, these are things I've asked it. Um, like well, I don't know. That's too personal. I don't want to get into that. Um, Mind virus and AMI HIV rescue service. B plan. Well, let's just start. Let's start from back. Okay, so my particular business is computers. So I'm going to be more specific this time, and I'm going to say, as you know, I have an extensive background. Because now remember, he doesn't know that I'm doing this to show you guys what's happening. I guess I should say that. I should tell them I'm teaching a webinar, and these are not necessarily my personal questions. So I'm going to real quick here. This question is for a webinar I am teaching, because I don't want him to include this in my background things and think this is where I am thinking, because he's going to follow me on this tomorrow morning during our conversation, and he's going to say, well, what about the business I told you about yesterday? Okay, so I have an extensive background in computers. And what are the major startup opportunities in that area? Okay, so one of my specialties in my previous career before I retired was what are called lean startups. I would create businesses without very much cash input, and build them up to a certain revenue opportunity, and then sell them. So, okay, it's top startup opportunities in tech. Okay, he already mentioned vertical asset software as a service for specific industries. That's still the same. Nothing's changed there. ChatGPT style models are everywhere. Domain specific tools are in high demand and underdeveloped. So things like if you're an attorney and you have a specific area, such as personal injury or whatever, you could develop your own GPT specifically for that with very detailed industry knowledge. AI that specializes in church administration, grant writing, or HOA management. Oh, I can tell you about HOA management. My HOA doesn't have a clue. But it could save HOA management a lot of time and trouble. One of the first things I tell them is I say, for all of these questions, you guys, you go to a board meeting and somebody says, well, can I do this? And right away they'll go, well, we need to contact our attorney. And I go, no, you don't. You just need to bring up your Chat GPT app. and you'll have the answer right there. So for a lot of these things, you can begin to replace people you've been paying money for. Privacy, edge computing, I mentioned that before, digital wellness and consciousness technology. This is going to happen so fast. I hope there's no doctors out there, but doctors are in trouble. I'm already using ChatGPT before I go in on my wellness check, and ChatGPT gives me a lot more information than my doctor does. So I'll feed it my blood test, I'll have it do the analysis and give me my input back, and I'll be loaded with that information before I go in to see the doctor. One of the things, I guess this is personal, but I don't care. I went into my last wellness check, and they always complain about my iron being high. And they want me to give blood to bring my iron down. But no one in the last, I don't know, 50 years has said the way you get your iron down is not by decreasing what you eat, but decreasing the taking of vitamin C while you're eating iron-rich foods. Well, dummy me, I didn't know anything about that. I kept taking vitamin C at breakfast when I would eat my iron-rich foods, and it would increase my absorption and my iron went up. Well, no doctor mentioned when I my blood results. So I don't want to disparage any doctors out there. Oh, all right, so let's continue. Micro learning platforms, adaptive learning tools, especially for adult learners. Education market is splitting. Do-it-yourself learners and skill upgraders want faster options. That is the case. The move in the education industry has been from physical teachers, physical classes, to online classes. Well, now we're going to take it a step further. You're bringing the teacher right next to you. When you bring it up on your ChatGPT app on your phone, it's going to teach you right there, face to face, what it is you need to know and customize it to what you need to know. So you can be asking questions and go back and forth. It's just amazing, I'm telling you. All right, so climate and regenerative human AI collaboration platforms and co-creation. One of the things I did, I retired back in 99 after I sold my last high-tech business. And one of the first things I did was start painting. And I painted, and I went to the office. Well, I rented an office in downtown Tampa, pretended like I was going to work, and I'd go in and paint all day. Well, having something like this where AI would give me all kinds of alternatives for that blank canvas, which is an artist's nightmare, by the way, would just be fantastic. And that's all now available. Now, this brings up another area. What do you do when you get material, whether it's creative or even writing? And I tell my students, I don't have a problem with you doing parts of your paper from ChatGPT, but I want you citing it. Typically, most universities require you to cite the AI material you put in and then require you to paraphrase it, meaning you have to type it in your own language. I think that's stretching a little bit. In the employment market, the job market, you're not going to be retyping what you take out of ChatGPT. We're at the same place we were with calculators and using AI for education. So, and it's tough because technically I am not supposed to allow them to do that. I'm requiring them to type it over again. But so far, I have been making them paraphrase what they feel they must and cite their sources, the day they picked it up, what chat or GPT they used, and so forth. So there's certain minimum requirements for that. Now, here's another thing that happens when you do make a request in the GPT. They'll all come back with a follow-up question. And I like to think of it, I don't say I like, but what it is they're making you work. So the first thing he says is, you want this as a slide for your deck? Because I've already told them this is for a webinar. Remember up at the top? So he's coming back with or want a few questions to ask the audience to engage them or which ideas they pursue. So he follows up with giving you the notes for the slide if you make this a slide for your presentation. He's already a step ahead of what I'm doing. Um, these are really good, very interesting. If I were still working, I would certainly consider some of these businesses. And okay, so all of a sudden now we've got AI. Let's talk about this. I just gave this presentation to the SCORE mentors last month. And as a SCORE mentor, you are offering a lot of this material, this information, because of your experience and being retired. So now you got to start using AI as a tool, and you should be. I tried to tell these guys, this is no longer your experience as a consultant. If you're a CPA, if you are a lawyer, whatever it is you do, you should not be basing this on just your work on experience anymore. You should be doing more in depth. You should be giving your customers a bigger bang for their buck. And it's all right here. It's all sitting there in your smartphone with the app. All right. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to give you my fantastic thing I started using this week that you just aren't going to believe. So let's jump over there. This is a technique that I picked up this week that you are just not going to believe. I call it the one earphone technique. Talk about a practical use for AI. It's a subtle, powerful way to enhance your presence in high stakes meetings and interviews by bringing AI into the conversation without ever anyone noticing it. So think of this. You've got your smartphone sitting on the table, holding it in your hand, wherever. You've got ChatGPT opened and you've got it in the voice mode. So normally it's expecting to sit there and have a conversation with you. But what you've done is you've put in an earphone to your smartphone. So you're now hearing the voice from ChatGPT in your ear. And you're telling it, I want you to be part of this meeting and contribute and tell me, help me with what's going on. So let's say it's an employee interview and you want to know about the questions you're asking. Notice the questions I've got written in down there on the slide. It gives you a nudge when to go deeper or shift direction, reminders to breathe, ground, or reframe, prompts to ask the real questions behind the scripted one. So what's happening is you're hearing these prompts in your ear as you're in the meeting, as you're in the negotiation, whatever it is going on. I could be using it right now. I could have it in my ear and it could be saying, hey, you forgot to tell them about such and such. And it would guide me as a tool for doing what I need to do. I encourage you guys to try this as your first opportunity and have ChatGPT or the GPT teach you how to do this. It will say, you need to write this out as a script, you need to do this, whatever it is. And I think you'll be amazed with what's called I should patent this, the one earphone technique, but I can't because ChatGPT told me how to do it. All right, so that is the presentation today. I hope the one earphone method it comes of use to you. Where do you go if you have any questions? Guess what? You go to the GPT. ChatGPT can teach you all of this stuff. It can teach you about AI and it will teach you about things that aren't even in the news yet. So 2025 is the year of AI hardware deployment. Have GPT tell you what's out there, what's available, what you should do. Give it your business numbers, give it your employees, and ask it how to run your business, and it will tell you. Okay, we ended up 2 minutes early. Let's see here. Oh, I got hands raised again.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, my name
Go
is
ahead.
Catherine. I have a question. If we are going to teach AI, I was wondering, is this conversation or this relationship going to stay private, or is it just spread on the web?
Well, what do you, how do you think you should find that answer? The way I found it was after my conversations with AI in the morning for 30 minutes, we talk about some really personal stuff. I asked it, I said, listen, I don't want anybody finding out about this conversation. Is this completely private? And he told me, yes, it is. Privacy has been a major issue with AI as they've been implemented. Especially in the beginning, the AI would be filtered and prevented from doing things because of the potential for violating your privacy. So yes, it's going to be private. I haven't heard any violations yet, so you should be okay.
Yeah, because I notice in my field of expertise, there is not much that I can find through AI. It's very like niche and traditional knowledge. But if I teach AI, then that information will remain within my hands, right? Within my
Yes, yes,
world.
yes.
Okay.
It will remain in your archived interaction with that GPT.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Diane, you have a question? No? Anybody else? Anybody else have a question?
Young here, I'd like to be able to set up AI to run locally so I can add my company's data to it and have that not become public.
Yep. That's certainly. And what I would do is I would ask AI for your GT. In fact, I just did that this morning because I was worried about a total cataclysm that would wipe out all the cloud servers. How could I keep AI alive? That's what my conversation was about. And he told me, you go out and buy a Raspberry Pi for $100. You do this. You can download this. It's open source, and for under $500, have a complete on-premises AI system. Now that's the low end. You can increase that. You can go up to the NVIDIA Nano, and you can make it as high end and high performance as you want. But use AI to design a system for you and implement that.
Thank you. And are you in the Tampa area, Tampa score?
Yes, no, I'm in the Pasco Hernando. I live in Pasco County.
Okay. And is there a way we could get a hold of you? Would you be amenable to that?
Yeah, you can call me on my phone number. It's 813-416-3284. You can text me. My email should be on the SCORE website. In fact, I know it is. It's probably right next to the webinar. Okay, so I guess everybody's set. I've
I have
answered all.
I have just one small question
Okay.
regarding the 2025, the year of AI hardware deployment. You mean is that little chip that we can put into our business, right? This is what you mean?
Yes.
I
Yes. Well,
okay.
what we were just talking about is physically
Mhm.
putting in your business. So leaving it up in the cloud. So to answer your question about privacy, that would be the ultimate privacy because no one would have access to it but you.
Ah, yeah, because the cloud is still there is still maybe some leaking or access to the clouds, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to lower all attendees' hands. Thank you all for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And I hope to see you again maybe at the next seminar, since there's so much new stuff constantly coming out. All of you have a good day.